don't have a set program I was going to walk us through. I thought I'd highlight a few things, answer questions, and then particularly I think for you, Hannah, we could probably do more of a once you're on your own doing it, because when new chapters start, I sort of guide along the way, and then when you're next year, you know, when you're doing it with less involvement from me, we can always hop on the phone and highlight some things, or I can help. That really is true for any chapter. We're always, and Trish and Christine, certainly all three of us, very, very happy to walk you through steps, hop on the phone. We could use Zoom or the phone. We can log in and sort of follow along exactly with you and help you through the different processes and steps within MHS. So I sort of envision this to be pretty hands-on, to point out things that you might not know about, to answer any questions if you get stuck on certain parts of MHS that we can help clarify. So does that sound okay? If you have questions, you can jump in. So I thought I've got a couple things pulled up here on my screen. Everybody can see that? Good. Okay. So actually, that's actually logging in. Let me take you first to ALD's website. So this is our, how did I get here? Obviously, hopefully you know where to go to get into MHS, but from our main website, which somehow seems very slow right now, I'm not sure why. Our main page, and obviously MHS is over here in the top menu bar. So I point to this page. Now I hardly ever go to this page. I have a bookmark right to the MHS login page, but I wanted to make sure and point out this because of the guides. Thanks to Trish and Kathy in our office, we have a number of guides. So that would be one of the first things I would point you to. Is they're not just, you know, how-tos and stuff, but, you know, they're very detailed with screenshots for every step you need to take. So I find anything I'm trying to learn in life, I like guides like this where it shows you, every step by step and shows, you know, you can see what you're supposed to be looking for. So I hope these guides are useful, and I just want to make sure you're aware of them and that all the different topics. So if there might be, if you're not even familiar with this page of guides, there might be guides to certain processes and things you can do in MHS that you weren't aware of or haven't even done, like personalizing messages and adding hyperlinks. Like you can, a lot of our chapters just use our invitation template as is. And that's fine. And there's a lot there for students to read and click on links. But if you wanted to customize it to have more of a Baylor feel, National Louis feel, Texas Kingsville feel to it, whether it was a picture or a testimonial from students or links to things campus specific, you can certainly do that. A lot of times, oh yeah, please.
I've noticed that adding a graphic can sometimes be a little persnickety in MHS. So if you are having trouble adding a graphic, please just email me, call me. I'm happy to sign in as you and edit because it's not as easy as it should be, even with the guide. So if you can't figure it out, don't stress out and just reach out.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I've actually run into problems myself. It shows up too huge, or it only is showing the corner of what, and it could just be a group photo of an induction ceremony from the past, or you know, a picture of an event on campus that the chapter engaged in. What, you know, it can be a nice thing to add. And the other thing that we do get, I get asked a lot about our reports and how to pull data and pull information, especially membership lists from MHS. So remember, and Hannah, for the future, starting in with MHS, our membership management system will keep track of invitation groups and students invited and students who joined year after year after year. And so 5 years from now, 10 years from now, all that data is there, which is nice. But accessing it is sometimes confusing. So there's a guide to downloading lists and information, or just let us know if you're looking for something and can't find it or want to pull data. You want to pull all the seniors who you think are that indicated they'd be graduating in May of 2021. You want to maybe send them either information about honor cords or a senior event you have on campus. That data should be in MHS. Okay, so that's our guide, all the way from just like literally starting with logging in for the first time, which I think all of you have pretty much done by now, but the creating of the invitation group, of course, is the next big thing. So that's really one of the first things I wanted to mention. So just to so I've logged in as a pretend advisor named Eileen Merberg at Sri Lankan Omicron University, so that you'd see what advisors see. So just sort of pay attention. There's a lot of options, and I want to draw your attention to a couple things in this left-hand column if you're not already using it. So invitee questions is a nice one. Sue and Deborah, do you ask invitee questions? Have you used that feature? No?
I haven't.
Okay. So that's something, just keep that in mind. And Hannah, for the future, you could ask them if they plan on attending the ceremony, if you're trying to, so this is more for back in the day when we used to have in-person ceremonies. Do you remember them? Hopefully, hopefully that day will return to us. But that's a big question, common one that gets used because the room holds 200 people and they want to make sure they have enough room. And so an invitee question might be, do you plan to attend the ceremony on March 25th? And how many family members are coming? A lot of chapters pre-purchase or purchase after, they'll purchase t-shirts or honor cords even, but t-shirts, and you need to know what size t-shirt the student wants, and so you'll ask that. And then the other, and chime in if Trish and Christine, if you see others, but the third one I always like to mention, a question you could ask is soliciting interest in leadership positions. So this is a great way to really get your chapter leadership. If you already have an effective way, that's great too. You can just email students after the fact, but it gets them thinking about it. You can add it. So it's a question that will come up as part of their acceptance process. It's only asked of students who are accepting the invitation. But are you interested in a leadership position? You could get specific and have them indicate just yes or no, or yes, I'd like to be considered president or treasurer, or any position is fine. So you could ask that question as well. So those are some of the big ones that I see. Any others?
But then if you're going to ask them a question like that, then if they are going to answer you, do they answer you through MHS?
Yeah, so then they'll answer yes or no, and then that's data that you can pull from MHS after your invitation closes. Okay. And then you can pull, okay, give me all the students who said yes. It'll show up in the download of that list, I believe, of your chapter induction list. It'll be a column. And then you can sort by the yeses. So, Trish, were you going to add any other?
No, you got it.
Those are the big ones. Okay.
The only thing I would add is that, like, if you are asking about a t-shirt, if they wanted to purchase a t-shirt, you can ask the size, and then you would also have that list of not only, yes, they want one, but what size.
Yeah, size would be key. And then, well, so that also gets, so if you're, if you've already included a t-shirt cost into the price, so your local fee, so let's say you added $10 to everybody's local fee, so they're getting a t-shirt whether they want one or not, right? So, and some chapters do that. They just, like, we just added $10 or and we get t-shirts for everybody, so tell us your size. That's it. You could do that. Or if you want to give it a choice, have it as a choice, then if you see here invitee items for sale, that's where you could add that part to your process and charge them. So not everyone wants a t-shirt. They don't have the $10 or whatever, they can choose opt-in. And so we would collect that money for you. And so you could sell any item. T-shirts, I don't think there's much else, or might be a sweatshirt or something. It's usually a t-shirt, I think, maybe honor cords as well. So then they pay as part of this process through MHS. That means we collect all the money and then send you a check for what we collected for you. So that's invitee items for sale. Message templates is something I was going to talk a little bit about. And then certainly the reporting we've talked a little bit about, but I wasn't going to go into too much detail unless you wanted me to. So those were some of the key things I wanted to point out. And I'm wondering, let me see one other thing. Yeah, okay, that was it. So let's talk about the templates. And one of the things is that, and for those who are new to MHS, so Hannah, you wouldn't know, in the past we had a different kind of messaging, different language. We had updated it about a year ago to a new, a shorter invitation. We were trying to cut down our invitations to join Alpha Lambda Delta were very, very long, and some still are, and for some the long ones work for chapters, but we really tried to tighten up the invitation email that students receive, and then we redesigned it to have a much better look to it, which I think it does. So I'm trying to see, I think this is only, well, how do I get to see the real deal?
Make a group.
Oh, right. I'm not usually in in this view. Okay. Okay, so real quickly, you can see that I've done some tests. So you create a new invitation group. We usually recommend that you call it by the semester and year that you are inviting students. Some call it fall 2020 because that's the students' eligibility, but most call it spring, would call it right now spring 2021. And then it will always default to a, nope. Oh yeah, that's the date, sorry. It will always default to our default template, which is our main invitation template. As you know, everything in brackets will automatically be filled in by whatever is in the chapter profile, which we didn't talk about, which I can if you need. And then everything in capital letters is something you need to customize. So those are the two rules for the invitation. So the main thing I wanted to mention is to just be aware of these other templates that are available. And so especially if you want to send different kinds of messages like reminders, we suggest that the language of the reminder follow-up emails are different, so this is not the same message they get every single time. So you'll see some differently worded, you know, what are the misconceptions about ALD or about, you know, honor societies in general? Is this even legitimate? Is it worth it? For what do I get for paying $50, $60, $25, whatever the fee is? What do I get for that? So you'll see different kinds of templates. So I wanted to point those out. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm not going to save this. I think it won't save if I just remove myself from it. So let me, I'm going to stop sharing too, and I can always share again. But what would be helpful regarding MHS? What are you are you struggling with anything? Is there anything that would be helpful to be explained? Maybe just tips and strategies. And Trish, why don't you start us off?
I just have two things. Just things to remember. So when you add your invitation group and you add your members, let's say a student comes up to you and says, hey, you know, you missed me, I didn't get invited. You can still add them. You just go in and add a member. You can even import a whole new list if you need to. But what's key there is that you send it. So when you first set it up, you send your invitation to the queue, which allows us to send it out. But it's not always intuitive to remember, okay, I just added one student. You need to hit that send to queue again, because otherwise we don't send them the invite. It won't send it to everybody. It'll just send it to any unsent people that were uploaded, but it's always a good thing to remember to do. That's not always kind of intuitive.
Good. So this is where you'd see when you're on the invitees tab, you know, created the group, here's the email invitation, we were just there. And then I would import my list, but then I can just add individually one at a time if I wanted. And then it'll just add her. So I've just now added Jane. You're going to pretend that there's 50 other names on this sheet, on this page, but I just added Jane. She has not been invited yet. I just added her. That doesn't mean she's invited. So now I have to queue that invitation for delivery. Trish will see that and she'll click send to Jane.
And,
I'm curious about Baylor. Do you individually put everybody in, or do you download a list? How do you do it?
I think we're very spoiled at Baylor. I usually get the list from the registrar within hours of it finalizing. They've always been very good about that. And then I just uploaded, like she said, the entire list.
Hmm.
And it's a lot of names.
Yeah, it's a huge list. Sue, do you upload a whole list all at once?
Well,
Yeah.
I get the list. Well, actually, I run the list through an Argos report.
Yeah.
And so I individually put them in there. But the reason I do that is that helps me remember the names and the people, you know, some of them I know already, some of them I don't know. But what I have found that if I'm really in the groove, I've got my headphones on and I'm listening to some rock and I'm, you know, typing these names in, I don't notice occasionally that is it populated for me?
Yes, yeah.
So, you know, I put Amanda and then all of a sudden there's somebody in there. I was like, who's that person? You know?
So
that's just-
I had no idea you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 230 names you're entering. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Okay,
I
yeah.
find it soothing, but you know, when you said how many Baylor had, I thought, holy smokes.
Yeah, right.
So-
She's not entering, how many is your?
There were 1,851 eligible.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
your
why I don't
list-
do one at a time.
So your list has the person's name and the email, and then that's it, because that's what you put in to.
Well,
add.
when they give me the list, it has their, now this is the first year, there's no grade point average. They just assure me that they all have 3.5
Sure.
before this. They've always
Right.
told me, but now they won't. But it tells me like that they're first time freshmen, not a transfer student. It even tells me, I think, what they're studying, their home address. I mean, it tells me a whole bunch of stuff, but I just take all of that out, those columns.
Yeah, you just need 3 primary columns: first name, last name, email address.
And they actually give it to me last name, first name, so I have to switch those every time. So
Why is that honor societies seem to want to do the first name in the first column? Because that drives me insane when they alphabetize by the first name.
Right. For MHS purposes, it doesn't have to be in that order. It could be the other way around.
It will have you identify which is which.
Right. Right.
So.
And Hannah, you've done this, right? Because you uploaded, I think you uploaded the list.
Yeah, I uploaded the list.
Yeah.
Is it also a way, and it probably is, I probably just didn't look at it yet, to send reminders, or does it automatically send reminders, or do I have to do that?
Right. So let's talk about that. I'm going to cover 2 quick issues given our conversation just now. So when I do hands-on walkthroughs with chapters, new advisors, I have this little test list that it's just a little nonsense list. It's not real. got my name in various different versions, just so I can play along with it and make sure, you know, I can see what they're seeing. So this is a list. It could have 1,800 names, 3,000 names, 237 names. Mine has 3. 3 columns, first name, last name, and email. So that's my test list. I didn't make any changes to it. So here's my pretend new invitation. I go to invitees. I already hand added Jane Smith, but I want to just import. So I'm going to import from the file. I'm going to go find it. Let me go see where I put it. It'll just take a second. No.
Always half the trouble, right?
I know, right? So where did I put that? Okay, so I just found it, test list. Now I'm going to upload it. And here's the part, it may recognize the first, last name, and email, but it may not. It's going to have you identify it. So it already recognized it. But maybe this was switched. Maybe more as my last name, I can just switch it. So it doesn't matter what the form, what the Excel document is, you can manipulate it, but it is first name. If it doesn't know and didn't recognize it, it's going to say don't import. It always recognizes the email usually. So if you see don't import, you just have to change it to say, nope, that's the first name. I do want that imported, and I do want the last name. You want those 3. If the Excel document has 16 other columns, like Deb, you said, you know, GPA and major and hometown, it might, you could leave all that there. It sort of confuses MHS sometimes, but so it's fine to delete it, but you could just tell it not to import that.
Right.
Okay. All right. So it sees that I have 3 names on my list. I'm about to import those records. And so I say, yes, go ahead and import them. And then it imported all 3 successfully. Now, just to be sure, I want to view my imported perspectives. So I'm going to take a look. And I should see all 3 of them there, plus the Jane that I added manually. And that's it. You can see that they weren't invited yet. I just added them. And now I have to queue my invitations for delivery. And that tells us to send it. That's it. Super easy. So, Sue, if you ever want to try that, super easy to do.
Can I explain the queue process a little bit?
Yeah.
So when you hit queue invitations for delivery, they don't automatically get sent out to your students. They get sent to the queue, which then we release. Usually it's me, but if I'm not there, then Eileen will take care of it. And when we do that, we go through and we double check all of your hyperlinks and make sure that, you know, they're going where they need to, that they open in a new page, that you didn't miss, you know, the word location there. And if we do have any questions, you know, we'll kind of stop and go back and say, you know, hey, Hannah, I noticed that you missed, you know, the location of your ceremony. Do you have it? Do you want me to take it out? That type of a thing. But we won't send an incomplete note, and just know, because I know personally, sometimes I get nervous sending big things. It's not on you, it's on me. So there is a system to kind of check what you do.
Yeah.
And if you accidentally hit queue and you don't want to, just let us know, because we can unqueue it as well.
Trish, I have a question. What I've been doing normally is once I send out the original ones about December 18th, every 2 weeks after that, I send something out again, but I send it out as a message to students, the ones that haven't joined yet. Am I doing that the right way?
Yeah, I think Eileen's going to cover that too.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Getting there. Yeah. Good. Let me just, one last thing. So you can see that, and I forgot this, so thank you, Trish, for pointing it, that once you hit queue invitations for delivery, it's going to give you a preview. So you can take a peek. Oh my gosh, I forgot I didn't put the location. I forgot to put my name on it. Whatever it is, you'll be able to see what it looks like. And then if you need to go back, you just cancel. So now I'm going to go back. Now I'm on my, go back to induction info, and now I can edit. I can put in my name. That's my new name. Save it. And now I'm going to go back to my invite tab and queue it again. And now I can see that I added my name here. And then now I'm when I'm really ready. Now that I see the data, you know, everything is right, then I queue invitations for delivery. And that's going to just send us a notice, which I'll delete. And
If that's your new name, it'd be interesting to see if your computer will tell you can't use your name as a password.
right. And can you pronounce it? Okay, good. So I'm going to just go back to invitation groups. Let me see if I have an active one. I don't know. It's probably already. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I need an actual invitation to do this with. Can I do it with this one? I think I can with this, even if it's not out yet. Yeah.
You can just mark them all as invited if that helps, Eileen.
Yeah, might not need to, or yeah. Where do I do that? Right here.
Yep. Just
Or
check
like a
the
mark
boxes.
all. Oh, here. Yeah. Great. Okay. So let's go back to Hannah and Deborah's question. So there are two types of messaging reminders that can happen in MHS. One is a scheduled ahead of time automatic reminder. And so that is, let me see if I can find it right here. So remember all these tabs here, these are the questions you asked, or if you have items for sale, that sort of thing. So if you go to the reminders tab, you can schedule out ahead of time 3 reminders, 6 reminders, 1 reminder, 2 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, 3 days from now. You can schedule them. And so you just do that by doing this, pick the date and time. I want it to go out on that day, and I'm going to add a reminder. Boom, it's done. Scheduled, and it will happen. What is that reminder? That reminder is the exact same invitation they just got here. So it's just that again, which is not a bad thing. And so highly recommend a few of those. I wouldn't do 16 of them, but you could do a few every couple weeks, depending on how long your invitation is open. Okay, so those are the scheduled reminders, but again, know that, that it's the exact same, it's this invitation email they already received.
And they're going to go to people who have not joined, so the ones that come out.
Yes, it automatically goes only, am I correct in that? It automatic, I believe it says
That is
here.
correct.
It will only go to those who the system can see has not accepted. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, also when I said I send one out every 2 weeks, I the first couple times send out the invitation, but then I use some of the other templates that you have, like
Coming up.
that aren't on the bottom of that thing.
Yeah. Yep. Moving to that topic now.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You are just on time. Deb, you should lead this discussion because I'm like,
You really should.
I'm not so sure about that. I did want to say something though. You're not seeing me because I was out working in the yard. I encountered some mistletoe and then evidently touched my face, so my face is all swollen. And
oh my gosh.
I didn't know I was allergic to mistletoe, but evidently I am. So that's why I'm not just hiding. I'm not trying to be.
Oh my goodness! Wow, I've never heard of such thing. Wow, I hope you're okay. Okay, so again, that's a really handy feature because it's automatic. You can schedule them, but it is the same invitation. Okay, so let's move to the second of the two types of messaging. The second one is a special, well, it's a reminder that you can customize. We have templates that I alluded to a minute ago, but you could also write your own. You can write anything you want, and let's see how you do that. So remember that we did reminders there. Go back to this tab called invitees and click on send message to invitees. And this is where you can send them a customized, different message than the original email invitation. So you can see how you can write anything you want. But let me draw your attention up here first. This is going to show you two things. If I had people in, you're going to see, let's say I had 6 students invited and 2 joined and 4 didn't. You're not seeing that right now because nobody's joined. But you will see 2 buttons up here. One is, do I want to send this email, whatever I'm saying, to those who have not accepted or to those who have accepted? So you might have messaging you want to send to your 50 students who did accept. You might want to just say, hey, so glad you accepted. Just, you know, our invitation will close next week. If you have friends that got invited, encourage them to join. Our ceremony is going to be this day. Hope to see you there. You know, or, you know, I don't know, whatever you want to tell them. This doesn't get used that much for messages to those who have accepted. It's more used for those who have not. So I want to send a reminder to those who have not. So I'm going to click that. I can say, I could put anything I want here. And then I could put the subject as anything I want. So this is where the templates come in that we have written and that we suggest you can use. So there's one called, is this legit? So a lot of times students, you know, think it's all, they get invited to 12 different organizations and they all claim to be honor societies, and not all of them are. So we wrote something called as ALG legit. So we know you get invited to a lot. They're not always what they seem to be. Here's why we are a certified honor society. So this is just something we wrote. You can customize it. You can add more, take out a sentence if you want. But this is just a way to send a different kind of message that's not the same invitation. I usually, you can see that I have some pre-filled in is ALG legit. You can call it this, the reasons why ALG is legit, call it, say whatever you want here. And then the main thing about this, the number one rule I always try and reinforce is if you are sending reminders this way to those who haven't accepted, make sure you click this button because this will include that same link, that big red accept button. If you don't click that, they're only going to get this message. Not the worst thing, but if this convinced them to join when the first email they got didn't, they're not going to know how to accept membership because you didn't click that button. So if you see that I don't click it, let's see if it'll show.
This is the little brown box at the bottom?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So I didn't click it now. So now you're going to get a preview. We know this invitation is not the only one. Here's why you should join. Here's why we're legit. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. It doesn't really say how to join. But once I click that, where'd it go? Did I have to start over?
You wanted to do make changes.
Oh, darn. Sorry. I do this. Yeah. Okay. So now I make sure and click it. Now I preview it and now it's there. So you always want to make sure you got to click that button so that they get the accept button. And so Deb, oh, what?
Reminders and messages don't get sent through the national office. So once you send them, they're sent. I don't check those before they go out.
Yes, right. And again, there's different templates. I like this one. There's a lot of, we hear a lot of reasons why students don't accept the invitation. So we just wrote this to say, we know you're thinking this. You might be thinking this. These are all the reasons students think they shouldn't join. Here's why you should. So that's that one called Common Misconceptions. And then I think there's another one about what do I get? So that's the other big one is we know that you're concerned about money. You spend it wisely. You're not going to just throw it away. What do you get? Here's what you get. These are all things that they were hopefully led to in that initial invitation if they clicked on why to join, all that stuff. But students don't read everything the first time. They need reminders. They had every intention of joining and forgot, etc. So those are your two types of messaging reminders to invited students.
Is
What
there any type
else?
of messaging, or does any of the chapters send, it would be sent through the students, but basically a message to their family explaining what an honor society is, especially because this is the first one and it's, so precious for being a first year recognition?
Yeah. So we highly recommend, contact with family and parents and home. And I'm gonna ask Trish, this is not MHS related, but it's sort of, because it connects the parent to MHS, which is our postcard. So if you're not already sending something home physically, which is really the only way, I mean, it's if the college has access to parent email addresses, I'm not sure that's a thing, but it might be. We certainly don't. But we encourage you to send something physical to the permanent homes of students. And Trish can tell you about the postcard if you're not already aware.
Yeah, so ALD has a postcard that we coordinate. So you just get us the list of full names and then full home mailing addresses, and we send the postcard to the student. So it's a super slick, nicely designed postcard. So it comes in the mail. It takes about 2 weeks to process. So you give me the list, I format it, send it to the printer. It takes about a week to print, and then a week, to get through the postal system and into the hands of the parents. We did a postcard intentionally. Well, one, because it's cheaper, and two, because the parents can see it and they might not think like, oh, I don't want to open Christine's mail, so I'll just set it aside. They can kind of see what's there. And on the postcard, we put how to accept membership. So we put the unique code for your invitation group right on there, so the parents can just go ahead and do it for them, which we do see a lot.
Cool.
So if you are interested in that, let me know.
Yeah, thank you.
I did forget, there was one other thing. I had a website pulled up. Let's see, let me just show you. This is very MHS related. Let me preface this by saying, one of the biggest problems with MHS is that the email ends up in their spam folder, in the student's spam folder. So they are not seeing it at all. I mean, if it gets into their regular folder and they are, inbox, and they think it's spam, that's one thing, and that does happen, which is why the more you can sort of personalize and make sure your name's on it, they know it's legit. But it does end up in spam folders. And so we just always, and even if you've done this for the 2 campuses who have been using MHS, it might not be a bad idea to just double check. I don't know if things change on college campuses and the work that IT does. But in our handbook, we have a lot of information in our handbook. I'm always pushing the handbook. And there's a page called Working with Your IT Department. And so, oops, that's registrar. Working with your IT is to make sure that the MHS email is whitelisted. So that would be a key feature of MHS, is to make sure that you work with your IT folks, and you literally just have to send, I mean, you could send them this page if you wanted, or just read through it, but the most important stuff they need is right here. So they're gonna whitelist, meaning not block the IP address and the email from address. So those are the 2 most important pieces, so that the university's email system knows that it is okay. So that would be a key thing. And again, even if, and I know Hannah and I, we've talked about this already, so hopefully that's been helping. But even if you're suspecting that, or you're hearing from students that they didn't get the invite and you suspect something, I would just double check with your IT to make sure.
Can I add something?
Yes.
I just wanted to add that we haven't done the postcards. We do letters home.
Right.
But like I said, we're spoiled at Baylor because we just simply give them the list, the envelopes, the paper, they stuff it all. We just sent out the 1,850 and it cost us like $244.
Oh, that's good. That's a good price.
Well, it's bulk. They do it bulk. So,
good.
So that's another way. I mean, that's what we've always done. We just haven't switched to the postcard yet.
Well, yeah, and I don't know that you really need to. That sounds like it's very effective. In fact, letters are. I mean, Trisha's point about it being more visible, but is true. But I can tell you, being a parent myself of college-age students, I'm opening that letter.
Yeah.
Parents are opening envelopes. So, and you can say more in a letter. So if you can do a letter's great home, because you can say more, you can describe, and parents will sit and read it. Students aren't going to read the letter, but parents will read the letter. So, yeah.
And sometimes
Deborah,
that
can you,
university,
I'm sorry.
sometimes the university letterhead and envelope also helps a lot. So
Makes it
those letters home do matter.
Deborah, do you ever address it to the parents of?
Yes, that's what it goes out exactly like that, to the parents of the student, right?
Yeah,
So it's
for-
really for them, yeah.
Yeah, and if you can't do that, you could just put the student's name on it, and like I said, the parents will open it.
Well, and they're saying what they said about the school logo also, ours have to go out under Baylor. If we don't do that, then they charge us a higher price. So it has to have Baylor on the envelope. So it looks like it's coming from Baylor and to the parents of, and so I think they always open it, truly.
Yeah. Sort of, I think I alluded to this, so if I already said it, stop me. This is another recommendation, sort of antithetical to MHS, sort of anti-MHS, but not really, is whenever you can, send an email from your own email telling them to invited students. Very, very effective. Because again, the MHS emails is not always seemed as legitimate, but getting an email from you can be very effective. And so we recommend that. So again, it's sort of like, why am I using MHS if I got to send an email myself? But it's both are effective. So some, I can tell you best practice, some advisors I know send their own email prior, a week before, or a couple days even before the MHS email, just to say, hey, everybody, you're eligible to join. You are about to receive an email from My Honor Society. You know, you can even take a screenshot or just put the from address. You're going to get this email. It is legitimate. It is real. You are eligible. This is the invitation. Hope you join. Any questions, let me know. That's been really effective. Or the week after. Hey, everybody, you got this email. You might have been wondering what it was. I'm here to tell you it's real. So anytime for some invitation groups like Purdue University, there's almost 5,000 names on it. So I'm not sure she's sending emails out, but some do. For smaller groups, it's a lot easier. But, email these days can handle, like our system can handle 500 recipients in a message and 2,000 recipients per 24 hours. So after a couple days, you should be able to get through your list. Anyway, that's a tip, that anytime you can send something from your own email account, it's very effective.
I wanted to point out too that by doing the MHS invitations and the parent or the postcard home, we doubled our invitees that accepted.
That's
So
amazing.
it's like a double punch. It really helped.
Right. So yeah, I mean, Hannah, if you have home addresses, I'm trying to remember when's it might not be enough time this time. But
I'm sending you to Austin next week.
Oh, I think they're, Hannah, do you remember when your invitation closes? The 10th. Oh, 2/10. So there is time. Yeah, February 10th. So Hannah, if you're able to get home permanent addresses for the 380 invitees, we can send a postcard if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah, not all colleges will release that information, but a lot do. We've sent out tens of thousands of postcards last year. So that's if you got it to us, it might already be on the list you uploaded or that you had available, but check for it. It should be not their campus. Well, a lot of students aren't on campus anyway, but a permanent home address.
Okay.
And if you're allowed to do that, send me a list and we'll get a postcard out.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? And Sue, the same for you. You've got, 230 students still. If you had home addresses, we can send a postcard. But sooner the better well, yours closes March 6th, so a little bit more time on yours, but Hannah, yours should go out soon if we're gonna do it. Just to give it time to get in the mail and get received and, yeah.
I just have a general question. Can we attach anything to when we send a message to the students through MHS?
Like a PDF or something?
Mm-hmm.
Trish, you wanna address that one? I'm not.
Oh, of course. I believe you can.
I
But
thought
now
that's what you
I'm
said one time, but
not
I've never
100. I
tried.
don't think you can to an invitation, but I think you can to a message.
I should have.
But I'm not
We'll
100%.
refine that. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna play around right now. Let me just see.
And have the new advisors used MHS before, or is this the first time?
You mean new chapters or?
Yeah, new chapters.
Yeah, every new chapter uses MHS. It's sort of a requirement now. I'm not seeing a place for an attach. I'm in now in a.
It could be a member message versus an invitee message. That could
So
be the
I'm
difference.
on the invitee message. Send member message maybe. Oh, there we go. That's it.
Yeah, that's the difference.
good
So if you
job.
did want to send an attachment, like Lisa at IUPUI, she likes to include a flyer. She puts the flyer on her website and then includes the hyperlink to the flyer in her invitation.
I
That's how she
was
gets around
wondering
it.
about for like officers, if we can send the officer application.
Yeah,
we
so it looks like you can so that was under members, send member message.
Okay, good.
That is not a reminder to those who have not joined. You cannot, looks like you cannot do that for that. But I'm not sure you'd wanna, there's anything to attach to somebody who hasn't joined yet, because you don't wanna send them too much. Okay. Anything else? Anything that popped up that you thought of?
I just have one more thing. So inevitably with a mass email, there usually are students that don't want to be part of that mass email. So at the bottom of MHS emails, students do have the ability to unsubscribe themselves. But if they email you back and they're like, take me off this list, I don't want to be on this list, we can do that as an admin, the national office can. So if you just forward that to me, I can take them right off the list.
Yeah.
And if they're super persistent, I can get a screenshot that shows that their email's been removed. So
Good point. Okay. Everybody here has an open invitation yeah, and did numbers look okay given past years? Well, Baylor is almost at 300, which is great. Yeah, I think Hannah, the postcard might really help again because
Yeah, I've noticed they're kind of low. So and school starts back Monday, so I think that will change also because now students are like checking their email and different things like that. So I do think I'm going to do a very hard push for the next 4 weeks because we do have about a month until February 10th.
Yeah, that's right.
And I do think that by school starting, people are getting more engrossed in checking their emails again.
Yeah.
It will definitely increase. So I think tomorrow I'm going to send another email, the reminder, since it's the same email.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then I'll try to do something weekly.
Good.
And then I'll also try to get a list of the addresses.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there's plenty of time still, but yeah, again, new chapters are a little bit slower to start, which is normal.
Yeah, and then I'll also send something out personally. And then we also do have the informational on the 25th.
That's right. Yeah, good. So you're doing great. Yeah, good. Okay, I think we got it. As always, again, as I started our chat today, is we are so more than happy to do individual chats and phone calls and Zoom calls with you to help you. Sue, did you have something?
Yeah, I just wondered, is anybody making mention of people not having money right now because of COVID? So I mean, is it a subtle way to say, a reminder that this would be the only time that they can join? I mean, they only get one shot at joining.
Right, right, yeah.
I don't know whether that's even an issue. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, you know, we do waive, allow you to waive some students, 1 per 30 that join. So we don't really advertise that a whole lot, and we don't say anything in our messaging because it can be a sensitive issue, and so we just leave it up to the advisor to deal with. And because we're also not doing any screening, like we're not making that decision about who can be waived. So I think my suggestion would be that you might want to send your own email, not through MHS, but your own email saying, hey, you've been invited. If anybody is having financial difficulty, really wants to join, is having financial difficulty, to let you know, and go from there. You can certainly waive the full fee. Well, not quite yet because you have 24, but if you have money in your treasury, or the chapter treasury, you can use that to help offset the fee for some. So there's ways to help them pay for the fee, but we leave it up to the chapter advisor.
Besides our own alumni, is there like some 1 or 2 sentence testimonial type of things that we could say students that belong to Alpha Lambda Delta have gotten, you know, their job or promotion, or what they learned there had helped them with something, so that it kind of says, you know, this has a big benefit, it just doesn't go onto your resume?
Yeah, there is a webpage, nationalald.org/testimonials, and there's pictures and quotes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and find right here. Yeah, now in terms of that specific example, I'm not sure, but in terms of it helped me get a job, but certainly lots of stories for how it benefited students. Our testimonials page, yeah. Now that's another, going back to MHS, it certainly could be something you could do to personalize the invitation or a reminder. So that could be a great custom reminder. Don't use one of our templates for a reminder. You know, that second option of reminders where you get to write your own is Kingsville, you know, get quotes right from your students for how it benefited them.
We could use Amika because we got big play about him getting the first scholarship.
Yeah,
I was just going to suggest that.
there you go. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that.
And I have his photo if you don't, Sue.
He's the cutest guy.
He's a nice kid.
Great idea. That's great. That's a good use of, in fact, I might make a template, reminder template, blank one that has instructions on how to do that. Testimonial. I'm gonna do that.
A couple of our successful chapters also have the chapter president send out a reminder, and they'll send it through MHS, but it's written by them, you know, so it has more of a, you know, a more casual kind of student, you know, I joined because, you know, X, Y, Z, since I've been involved, it's done this for me, you know, consider joining, let me know if you have any questions. Those seem to go over really well too.
Yeah, right. Good suggestion.
It's not a topic for a part of this topic, but in the next couple ones that we're going to have, will you be discussing virtual induction ceremonies?
It is not a topic of specific to them. The one on best, what I call it, not best practice, 5 ways to promote ALD is not really. I can mention it there. But I've pretty much relied on my monthly advisor emails. So I've talked about it twice in those emails, the November and the December one. And I actually will include, it might have just been December, but I'll include it in January. Just in terms of, we're offering a bunch of national ceremonies and you could sign up for any of those.
Okay, perfect.
Hannah doesn't apply to, for any new chapter, we have special ceremonies just for new chapters.
I have a question.
Yeah.
what are some of the ideas, and I don't know if this is going to be talked about a little bit later, but what are some of the ideas for the ceremony, especially that it's going to be virtual? How can we make it still like an entertaining, engaging experience?
Yeah, so you and I will talk about that for your ceremony.
Okay.
We've done a ton of them already. They're not like the most entertaining, but but we've got sort of, I think, a good system. I've got some new ideas for the spring ceremonies to make them a little bit more
Okay,
and
perfect.
more interesting. So we've done a ton in the fall. We did 8 new chapter installations. Let's talk more about, we'll talk more about that for your particular ceremony.
Okay, sounds great.
It'll be special. Yeah. New chapter installations are nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about the one you're talking about, the national ones. How do you do it? Is it, because my students did one in the fall, but they said they wanted to do it with you.
Okay. Did you sign up for one yet, or?
Yes.
You did? Okay, good. Yeah, I don't have that list in front of me. Yeah, I have recordings if you want to see recordings from past. Would that be interesting? I use Zoom. It's a PowerPoint presentation we read through. There's slides, chapter specific slides customized for any information you want to share. Students' names are on slides, and then they type in that they accept we read the pledge. They type in chat once they see their name on the screen. I accept. So it's we show a video, a 4-minute video from the National Council. Is that answering your question?
So it's for Baylor if you do it.
Okay. So the national ceremonies are are multiple chapters.
Okay. That's my question.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Did I answer a question you didn't ask? I just went on and on.
Well, but you mentioned like pictures from us, or pictures that you're just using.
So for the national ceremonies, one national ceremony had 23 chapters participating. One of them had 10. It can vary. There won't be the new ones we're doing for the spring. We're offering more of them so that fewer chapters are part of them, so that they're not so huge. I mean, we've had, thousands of students being inducted in one online ceremony. So we're trying to tighten that up a little. So all that to say, I allow there's a section of the ceremony for individualized chapter specific slides to share information. So Fredonia last December or November had 4 slides they wanted to share, and this is the chapter and some activities they do. Here's how you get involved. They're looking for leadership positions here, here, and here. Here's the social media channels. Subscribe now. Whatever you want, we're going to add, but it's multiple chapters, so it's not specific to the whole ceremony. Is not specific to one chapter, but you can have parts of it specific to yours.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
Yep. And they're all recorded, all the ones last year, including Hannah, all our 8 new chapters from the fall. You can see, I'll send you, did I already send? I'll send you some links to some of the ceremonies. You get an idea of how they flow and what's included in them. And they usually, we'll talk about this, but they usually have, many of them had a keynote speaker, somebody from the university saying a few words. So if you want to think about that, if the president of National Lewis is available, wants to say something, or the dean of students, or the vice president for student affairs, or your boss, or, and then certainly you would be already playing a role, but somebody to give like a keynote speech.
Okay, I'll start brainstorming and getting that together.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. We are past our hour. Wow, that was great discussion. We're past our 4 o'clock, so I'll let everybody go. But again, email us questions all day long. We don't mind. Hope this was helpful.
It was very helpful.
Good. We'll be in touch, I'm sure. Especially Hannah, you and I.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks
Thanks so
everybody.
much.
Bye-bye.
Take care.